Welcome back, guys. Ghetto Rig episode 224.
Extra ghetto today.
Extra ghetto today. Yeah, guys, we've been having a lot of technical issues this morning, this afternoon, night, whatever. Been trying to fix this for a longest time, but we're finally live. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us. We're having some audio issues, video issues, stream issues, you name it, issues.
The whole bitch was fucked up.
Okay, it looks like yeah, we're live, guys. We're live, guys. We're good. Comment, all that good jazz. But first and foremost, my name is Jay. I'm finally back. I'm not sick anymore. I'm back with you live ones. I'm not a zombie anymore. You know. My name is Jay. To my right, I have my co-host Eddie, and behind the camera we have the Miggy, best man in the business. He literally took something that I was about to throw out the window and he said, "No, don't worry about it. I'll fix it. It'll take me some time, but I'll fix it." And he did. Sorry again for being late. We're super late today, but it is what it is. It happens. Ghetto rig be ghetto rigging. You know what I mean? Anyway, guys, what I want to talk to you about is how our great commander in chief, the payaso, payaso Trump, fucking came up with the big beautiful bill. That's the name of the bill. Big beautiful bill.
Okay.
And they actually he signed it and Congress passed it. Now it has to go to, I think, even House of Representatives passed it. I put that in Discord, Miggy, if you want to pull it up. And it is a weird one. It is definitely a weird one, and I'll tell you why. Let's read this, and then once we read it, I'm gonna want your opinions on it,
See
and then I'm gonna give you, yeah, and then I'm gonna give you my own thoughts on it, right? And then I'm gonna want you to give your own thoughts on it as well. All right, so there you go. So there you go. House GOP adopts the budget framework, paving the way for the Trump's big beautiful bill. All right, so read a little bit of it, Miggy. Go down a bit.
Now Republicans will need to come together on the meat of their package of tax cuts, energy policy, border security investments, and new military spending. The House finally approved the budget Thursday, uncorking the filibuster skirting power Republicans need to build and enact President Donald Trump's dream bill along party lines this year. The final vote was 216-214, with two Republicans Victoria Sparks of Indiana and Thomas Massie of Kentucky, joining all Democrats in voting no. Now Republicans on both sides of the Capitol can begin the even heavier lift of writing and then whipping support for the behemoth package of tax cuts, military spending, energy policy, border security investments, and more. That process will pit fiscal hawks against moderate Republicans as GOP leaders try to square their conflicting demands to protect safety net programs like Medicaid while cutting trillions of dollars from that slice of the federal budget. Republican unity, huh? Can't be done, hardliner Republican Scott Perry quipped after the vote. In a significant win for Trump and GOP leaders in Congress, and after days of suspense, dozens of Republicans holdout ultimately agreed to vote to clear the Senate-adopted blueprint after Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune publicly promised to seek at least $1.5 trillion in spending cuts to safety net programs in the final package. Johnson told fiscal conservatives in a meeting Wednesday night that House committee chairs will write their pieces of the bill to meet the House's higher standards for shrinking the federal deficit, not the Senate's lower benchmarks. He told them that they could boot him for the speakership if the final bill doesn't meet the House standard, which included $1.5 trillion in spending cuts, according to three people with direct knowledge of the commitment. Massey, using a jack and beanstalk analogy, predicted that the spending cuts will never become law. I knew all along that they would trade the cow for magic beans, the Kentucky Republican said of his colleagues after the vote. These beans are like the rest. They don't sprout. Johnson House Majority Leader Steve Scalise met privately with fiscal hawks past 10 p.m. Wednesday after the GOP leaders canceled the vote on the fiscal framework earlier in the evening. Before that, House hardliners met privately with Thune about ensuring deeper spending cuts. I think at some point these guys just have to take a yes for an answer, said Thune. Adopting an identical budget in the House and Senate is just the first step in the arduous process of steering Trump's big, beautiful bill to enactment. It was far from easy. Republicans in each chamber had to vote twice on the fiscal blueprint over the course of 7 weeks in order to arrive at a final product GOP lawmakers on both sides of the Capitol could accept. The budget framework gives Republicans a great deal of wiggle room to decide what goes into the final package. House GOP leaders say that they're aiming to finalize by late May. Besides tax cuts and spending cuts, they're allowed to boot boost military spending by $150 billion, along with another $175 billion for border security and immigration enforcement work. We will now get the committees operating on all cylinders, Johnson told reporters after the vote. While lawmakers have already started the boarding flights for 2 weeks recess, the speaker said panel chairs will work over the break to craft their pieces of the bill, taking only a couple of days off to celebrate Easter. Until now, Republican leaders in the House and Senate have been operating with an and us against them mentality as Senate GOP leaders first rooted for breaking the agenda into two measures while top House Republicans favored the one bill approach Trump has endorsed. But the speaker said that will change. This really is one team approach by Republicans in both chambers, Johnson said. Well, there are ways Republicans can skirt some of their own mandates to reduce a deficit if in the final bill. Senate Republicans are requiring a total of at least $4 billion in savings over a decade from a new policy crafted by committees that handle agriculture, nutrition, and housing, along with energy, health, education, and labor policy. If Republicans don't go far beyond those Senate minimums for reducing the deficit, House fiscal hawks are threatening to revolt. We made it pretty clear that if any of these varies, if we don't pay for what we spend, no more deficits, then we can go right back, and we will. And they know that. Republican Ralph Norman, RSC, told reporters after the vote. Because Senate Republicans plan to employ a seldom used approach to tallying the price tag of their tax policies, GOP leaders plan to extend the 2017 Trump tax cuts while also enacting up to $1.5 trillion in new tax breaks, all while claiming they're only increasing the federal deficit by that $1.5 trillion for their new tax perks. Republican leaders are considering Trump's own ideas, including nixing taxes on tips, as well as restoring key tax breaks for businesses and expanding the child tax credit. Democrats are eager to hone their attacks on GOP as the bill comes together and are seizing it on an estimate Congress nonpartisan budget scorekeeper released Thursday. The new Congressional Budget Office analysis predicts that the GOP tax plans would increase the federal deficit by $6 trillion over a decade. That counts the extension of the 2017 tax cuts plus the $1.5 trillion worth of new tax perks Republicans are seeking. Over 30 years, the tax cuts are estimated to add $52 trillion to a national debt that currently tops $36 trillion. If they
you want to read the whole thing?
Oh, I can. Almost there. But
I don't know. I mean, I think we got like.
So I think what they didn't mention here. So part of this bill is basically they want to cut taxes on tips.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, that middle class tax law that he put in place when the first time he was a president is expiring this year. So you want to renew that, right? Whatever the laws were, keep that.
Which is good.
On top, yes, it did put some money in people's pockets for sure. Now, they also want to cut the taxes on tips completely. So if you receive tips, you don't pay taxes on it. Cut the taxes on overtime pay. Cut the taxes on products that are produced in the United States. So they're trying to cut a bunch of taxes, right?
By cut, they mean like cut them down or like take them out completely?
Completely. Get rid of them.
Okay.
Get rid of them completely. So the bottom line is this. Here's the questions that I have. When you turn your iPhone upside down, it says assembled in your... it says...
Designed in California, assembled in China.
That's what it says?
Yeah.
Okay. Because back in the day, it used to say United States product, even though I think they changed the law.
No, they've always said designed in California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so whatever... Because there's... So there's this thing, I think we're going to bring up the watch example, so it makes a lot of sense. A lot of the watches, when we look at it, we say, oh, Swiss made, right? But majority of these watches are still made in China. Like even their, like Panerai, for example, majority of the parts that are made in China. And then they make they make the main parts and then they bring them in and then they tweak them a little bit and then put them together in Switzerland. They call it made in Switzerland.
Only a certain part of the watch, like a certain percentage
Correct.
Of the
for
watch.
It to be considered Swiss made. And I'm sure there's a rule like that in the United States. So a lot of these companies, they're going to still continue making their parts in China and then assemble them here.
When you look that up, what is the rules behind something saying made in the USA?
Well, what percentage?
That's a good... Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a percentage, just the rules. So maybe they have a different rule base. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not based off percentage, but...
It's gonna... If if I'm correct, what I'm assuming it's gonna be some sort of a
So
percentage.
the product must be all or virtually all made in the U.S. Okay, so
Okay.
they have it pretty strict for U.S.
Okay,
made products.
there we go. So if that's the case, now what is imply made in United States? Are you talking about assembled in United States?
It is very gray.
It's a very gray, vague. I mean, is this somebody sitting there and grinding the wheels and making the wheel, or they're receiving it and putting it together, and now it's made in the United States because they put the parts together? So see what I mean? So if they're still receiving the parts and then just assembling in United States, all they have to do is put two cases together, put a screw in together. It's assembled in the United States.
Well, I don't know because, like, for example, something like a domestic car, like a Ford or a Chevy, right?
Yeah.
There are definitely parts.
Oh,
that
they're
are
assembling them in the United States,
exactly,
no matter what.
Exactly.
They're putting them together in the United States, and I think that's what's going to happen.
So I'm saying they're putting them together. Doesn't mean every single piece of material came from the United States. Hell no.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's why I guess they're saying virtually all.
Yeah,
So-
because especially with Japanese cars, if it starts with a J, that means majority of the stuff was done in Japan. But if it starts with another letter, like Honda Civics,
It depends with the brand, yeah. Well, like for
maybe-
example,
so for Honda Civic, you won't need to pay taxes, basically.
so like my Subaru was made in Mexico,
Yeah,
right? Like it's like I think it's contracted out basically through Fuji factories, and they make those Subarus
Yeah.
for all the domestic market
because
here.
I know Kentucky has big factories where they assemble Mercedes.
Yeah.
They do
I'm pretty sure
Hondas
my
and things like that.
Subaru was made in Mexico.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
the ones that
mistaken.
are made in, let's say, Kentucky or whatever, those, if this passes, you don't need to pay taxes on that.
Yeah.
That's big. Taxes are big on like
Cars,
it's like
and
a
stuff,
car.
yeah.
So I think that's gonna be a plus. Not paying taxes on tips, that's gonna be another plus.
Mm-hmm.
Because the taxes on tips is huge because you never really have a paycheck because the paycheck goes to pay for your taxes
Yeah.
for tips, right? And then overtime pay because you get taxed hell a lot. So now people are gonna want to work more overtime. You know what I mean? Because they're keeping a lot more money. So it's gonna be an
I
interesting.
mean, and also maybe companies will be inclined to give more overtime because they pay less taxes on it. Are
Yeah.
the company's gonna pay less tax because with something like a
Correct.
W-2, the company has to pay
Company
taxes
also
aligned.
doesn't have to pay taxes.
Yeah, so
So nobody pays. Now here's the problem. Taxes. If you tax every single rich person 100%, whatever they earn that year, that still will not be enough to pay. One-time use and cheap. Joey. So here's the question. The reason we have taxes and the reason everyone kind of pays taxes is because that's how taxes work. Even if you tax the rich 100%, that's still not going to be enough, nowhere near enough to pay all the taxes that we need throughout the year, right? So if you're cutting more taxes, this money has to come from somewhere. And their alternative is to hit the programs such as Medicare and Social Security, which what them saying is, I'm canceled for that one. So what they're saying is we're gonna try to figure out who is abusing the system. Because like the guy was basically saying that Medicare was created for like elderly and single women and things like that that cannot afford to do this. But now if you're a able-bodied young man, there's no need for you to get Medicare.
Like during COVID, a lot of people were scamming unemployment and stuff. I've been seeing videos recently of people that are still like getting like they're now going after them to this day, like going
Yes.
after them for abusing the system and all this stuff.
Yeah. No, I
So-
know for sure. And I've heard of people and I've seen them. I don't know them. I don't associate with them, but I know that there are people specifically in California that are scamming the system right now as we speak. They're literally scamming the system and getting Medicare.
Oh,
They're getting
they still got COVID over there. Like-
no. They're scamming the system. They're pretending they're sick. They're this, that. They're scamming that they're disabled and this, and they're getting money. So they're trying to go after all this. I don't know how this is gonna go. I think what's gonna happen, they're gonna make the process super difficult, which is gonna also make it difficult for the ones that do need it. Right? They're gonna have to jump through extra hoops to get the program, which could be a good thing and a bad thing at the same time.
Kind of
The
reminds
ones
me
that
of
really need it, like our grandmas and grandpas, like we know they need it, they're gonna have to jump through hoops. And if they don't have somebody younger that's gonna be taking care of all this for them, they're fucking screwed, right? But the ones that are like scamming the system, good. They shouldn't be getting that shit either.
My dad had his first like old man moment in front of me of frustration, where it was like the simplest thing, and he said, "Fuck life." Like,
Yeah.
it's just old people, they can't deal with it, bro.
Yeah, they don't have the attention span anymore.
The patience,
The patience.
the patience, I
Yeah.
think is the biggest thing. Everything is outrunning them.
Yeah, so not only I don't think it's outrunning them. They're just tired. They don't want to fucking worry about it. They got older where they need to now relax. Now they're telling them you need to work harder to fucking get something done that could have been done much easier, right?
Speaking of getting things done that could have been hard and getting them done easier, ChatGPT is saving my life lately.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had to at work. I shot over 100 products for a company, and I had everything organized in the sense of like categorized in files of everything how it's done, but they came over and like, oh, we want a spreadsheet of all of it. Fuck you. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna have ChatGPT do this shit, and I like screenshotted all the files and just put it in there and told me make a screenshot and like all this has been shot, all this hasn't. Label it green. Boom, boom, boom. It did it. I love it. It's so nice. Something that would have took me hours of like manual work.
15 seconds.
Not that. I mean, it took me a solid 30 minutes. And the reason I'll say that is because I had to fix a bunch of the shit, multiple revisions through ChatGPT, but it still saved me hours of work.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. So
they don't have that.
They don't have that. They don't have that. They don't have that. So it's a good so my point here is nothing like you gotta look at the with all these things you gotta look at the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to have a good and you're going to have a bad. There's never going to be something that's going to be good for everyone. That's my point. It's just not. It just doesn't work that way, right? Like life doesn't work that way, unfortunately. You know, it's never good. If it's good for this people, it's bad for these people. If it's good for these people, it's bad for the, you know, it's just doesn't ever work. So it's going to be interesting to see. My biggest thing is, in my opinion, the way I look at it, how are they gonna cut the deficit, man? This might even put us in a bigger deficit. You know, because they promised to cut a lot of money. They did cut a lot of money, but it was nowhere near to what they promised, right? So it's gonna be a very interesting.
Is there an update on the whole schools, the Department of Education thing?
I haven't seen
How's that
anything
been
new.
going?
I haven't seen anything new on that part yet. On that, maybe Miki can see what we got on there, but. So I don't know, man. We're in the new waters, man. No one's ever been here. Like he's running the government like a company, you know, company with unlimited resources. Because we can borrow money at any time, right? So they're talking about valuing the gold reserves, which gold reserves never been valued. So there's this conspiracy that gold's not even there anymore. You know, they're just auditing the logs. They're not going physically seeing the fucking gold. They're just auditing the logs, which logs look fine, but has anyone seen the actual gold? Like have the auditors seen the actual gold? You know, the bars. So I don't know, man. Yeah, so there's nothing. He has ordered the dismantling, but I don't know how that's going. So
Yeah, it still has to go through Congress, which
Yeah.
is probably gonna get.
yeah,
I see
might get chopped.
something about Trump freezing Harvard. This reminds me of something that reminds me of college. There was a shooting today at Florida State University at FSU.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently the guy who did it, his mom was one of the sheriff deputies. But yeah, the Florida State University, FSU, there was a shooting. We were at work today, and one of the guys mentioned it. You gotta pause the extension, probably.
We'll just choose another one.
No, it's the ads, not refresh. Yeah.
Florida State University shooting suspect who is Phoenix Eichner. Phoenix Eichner opened fire on Florida
Jewish?
State University Tallahassee's campus just before noon on Thursday, police said. The suspect who opened fire at Florida State University in Tallahassee, Florida on Thursday, killing 2 and injuring 6 others, was identified by law enforcement officials as a 20-year-old son of sheriff's deputy. Leon County Sheriff Walter McNeil identified Phoenix Eichner as a shooter, saying it's not a surprise to us that he had access to weapons. His mother, Jessica Eichner, is a sheriff's deputy with the Leon County Sheriff's Office. She has been with the office for over 18 years, and McNeil said She has done a tremendous job in her position. During the course of her career, authorities said she served as a school resource officer. McNeil said Phoenix Agner used his mother's handgun in the shooting at FSU.
She's getting fired.
Unfortunately, her son had access to one of her weapons, and that was one of the weapons that was found at the scene. We're continuing that investigation into how that weapon was used, McNeil said. Phoenix Agner was named to the Leon County Sheriff's Office as a member of the 2021-2022 Youth Advisory Council on August 17, 2021, which was established in 2020 to provide an open line of communication between the youth of Leon County and local law enforcement, McNeil said. And this is Jessica right here.
That's the mama.
According to the Sheriff's Office, the council plays a role in advising the sheriff, but also reaches out to other teams in the county to let them know about existing opportunities. They also develop skills in advocacy, leadership, and team building while completing community service hours.
So this is just about the group.
This is just more on that.
Damn.
But why? They didn't say why?
No, I get that they're not gonna start.
I mean, that just happened today.
Yeah, it just happened literally today. We're not gonna release that much information just yet. You'll start to hear some more things in the coming days. Maybe by next week we'll know some more.
Yeah, that's sad, man. Like, she seems on paper pretty decent, right? Like, no problems. Because usually these shooters, they're usually like loners, always at home, greasy hair, glasses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't take showers, play video games. That's all they do all day long, and participate in chat groups.
I mean, we don't know the full story yet.
Yeah.
You know, this is just the cover so far.
Never mind. I take everything. I take back everything I said.
This kid looks like the evil kid from Toy Story. Look him up, Miggy. Look him up. What's the kid's name from Toy Story?
Sid.
Yeah, Sid. Look up Sid. That is a living version of Sid. Sid.
Yep.
Yeah, looks like Sid.
Yeah, I take back everything.
So what
I just said.
happened to him? Is he dead? Did they shoot him? What do you know?
He got
arrested?
he got shot, but he did not die.
Oh, so they arrested his ass.
Yep.
The mom is getting fired for sure. Because he
I
used.
don't know. They talked about her pretty. The sheriff.
Yeah,
guy
but
talked
he
about,
he had access to her actual gun.
Yeah, but it's not like he's a minor.
Service weapon,
He's not a
bro.
minor.
Yeah, but that's her service weapon. Your service, like you as a service member, you
Well,
like that's your job to
did
guard your
it,
shit.
did it say it was her service weapon or was it just her weapon?
That's what I thought I heard. No,
Okay.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, it might have just been
If it
one
was
of her.
just a weapon, it's a different
weapon.
It was
service
service.
weapon. Yeah, there you go. Service weapon that's a big deal.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's not a minor, like, you know, and if that's the only gun in the house.
No, service weapon is a service weapon, man. Like
I get what you're saying. They're
Yeah.
strict on that, but at the same time, he's not a minor. He's going to have access to everything in the house, basically. Like, they can't...
access to regular
like,
weapons.
as a
I
cop,
agree.
like as
service weapon, he shouldn't.
What's the difference? Just a handgun.
Nah, service weapon is different, man. That's registered.
Yeah, they're all registered. She's a cop.
No, I know, but that's registered to the police department and things like that, and they're supposed to guard them like with their life and things like that.
I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, like, my guy, she was a cop. She has a son at home. She probably wasn't anticipating
We're
something
just
like
gonna
this.
have to see, right? I guess.
It's not like it's a child, right?
He was also training to be part of the sheriff's department as well.
Is he?
Yeah.
And you only got 2?
Damn, bro.
I'm just saying.
Too soon.
That's fucked up, Jay.
I'm just saying. That means he was shitty at it.
Damn, bro.
But
That's fucked up, Jay. Come on. It was today. It was
y'all
less than
thought
12
about
hours.
it. Y'all
was
thought
like,
about it. I
no,
just
no,
said
I
it.
didn't
It's
think
been
about
12 hours, I think.
Yeah, it hasn't even been 12 hours, bro. Go
Y'all
on.
thought about it. Don't even go there.
I did not, but
Yeah, it sucks to see stuff like this. Especially, like,
so close to home.
yeah, it's so close to home, you know, and you just think about it, like, damn, like, it's not just high schools and middle schools and elementary schools, you know, it's
I just wonder what it was.
colleges,
I just wonder
all
what
these
it was.
public places.
He's got to be. I'm guessing that he's more Republican leaning. He probably tried to have a conversation with someone there at FSU because usually colleges are pretty Democratic and liberal. They probably.
My whole thing is like, what makes them go into this rampage? Like, what is it that sets them off into the sense where it's not like they're targeting one person. No, it's just like go in there and hurt anyone I can kind of thing. You know, it's to me it would be it would make a little more sense if it was like a targeted person. Like they went to this classroom because they were looking for this teacher or this person. A lot of times this seems to be just very, they just go in and get anyone they can.
I'm gonna show you what's up type of deal. I think that's what it is.
You think I want to I want to show everyone, like they feel like everyone's their enemy?
Not that they're enemy, but they're like, I think what's going on in their head is more like, this is my opinion, right? I don't know any better, but they're just kind of like, oh, you think you're safe? I'm gonna show you how safe you are, and then they just go on a rampage. You know what I mean? It's not just one person. They just kind of like, all of you are in the same bucket. And I'm gonna show you all how safe you are. It's like to exude control over like, it's almost like not if they don't have any control in life, so they want to exude control over masses by like feeling in control. There's clearly some mental issues there, but from what it is, like sometimes, I guess cover of the book, judging book by its cover, like it's literally what it is.
It's a very weird thing to kind of wrap your brain around, like the whole mentality of wanting to, like that's their way of like wanting to control,
Well, yeah, because there, as I said, if he was more Republican leaning, because the mom works for the sheriff department, and sheriff, like, again, these are all speculations, right? I'm going off of, usually police are a little more on the right, you know what I mean, part of the political aisle. And if he had the same kind of convictions, and the colleges are usually a little more liberal Democrat leaning, and if he had clashes with them and they're like kind of talking shit back and forth to each other,
who knows what it could have been?
Exactly, really. Could have been everything, right? So we'll find out more about it.
It's sad to see, though. It is, especially like Mickey said, so close to home.
Yeah. Now again, we don't know all of it, right? He might have gotten attacked. He might have felt, threatened.
I don't know. It seems to me like the way they've painted it so far is pretty apparent. The mass shooting style, Two.
Yeah. What was the news source? Fox.
Yes.
Was the Fox, right? So yeah, if Fox is saying that most likely that he was just like, pew pew, opening it up without anything. Because if it was CNN saying, I'd say, yeah, go check more of a Republican source, see what it is, and then we'll just come in the middle somewhere. That's where the truth is. But if Fox saying that, then most likely, you're right. It was probably just him going pew pew. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's just weird.
We'll be getting an upgrade to the studio pretty soon.
Oh hell yeah!
With the fiber internet.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's coming through, guys.
So next week, hopefully.
No more that.
Yeah, actually, next episode, we should be back to streaming at 4K. With no issues.
That's what Joe says. Weapons should be locked in a safe, never left out when you had kids. He may be enrolled by law, but under 21, you don't have wisdom at that age. I would still treat young adults relatively the same in IMO. Yeah, I mean, there is that. But mother is like, probably, oh, well, he's doing all these things. He's
I don't know. I feel like under 18, 19, you kind of have to start letting go, because they got to make their own mistakes, right? You can't wait till they're 21 and then let them out and have them make big mistakes and never made a mistake before. You know what I mean? Like,
here's my thing. I don't
you gotta let children and young adults suffer their consequences sometimes. And I get, a gun, that's a whole nother level, right? Like, and it's an extreme at that point. But there's a lot of other issues that you're gonna have to let them just kind of go and make on their own.
To me that's a little crazy, because you can't drink until you're 21. You can't smoke until you're 21. But then you're allowed to pick up a gun and go to war and die when you're 18.
Mm-hmm.
You can vote when you're 18, when you have zero skin in a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think our laws are a little bit ridiculous. I would propose this. You cannot own a weapon, because you cannot rent a vehicle until you're 24, 25 on your own.
You can get one, I think, at 21, but you got to pay an extra insurance or some shit. And a lot of places won't even do it.
Yeah, so
some places will.
You have to be 24 or 25 to do it, right? So I say until you're 24, 25, they should have you like doing the weapons thing, right? You shouldn't really even go to the army before 24, 25 when you got some sort of understanding.
I don't know.
You shouldn't vote until you're 30 to begin with. Don't vote. I'm sorry.
I think another thing too is we look at the lifespan we have now versus the lifespan that they had back when those laws were made, and that's I think one of the reasons, drinking 21, smoking 21, but I agree with you. The whole thing of being able to having to wait till 21 to drink and smoke, but you can go fight for your country and shoot a gun and kill people and die and all these things.
And then at 18, what do you fucking know? It's like you're full of piss and vinegar. You know what I mean? You know where that comes from, right? Piss and vinegar.
Mm-mm.
That's when they do drug tests, right? So they'll fill up their bladder with vinegar. They'll literally like inject vinegar into their bladder. So when they pee, the pee comes out all fucked up. So they cannot test for drugs or anything. That's called full of piss and vinegar.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a gangster ass way to do it.
Yeah.
Who does this again?
People do it when they go drug testing.
For like the army and stuff? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or any kind of drug testing. So, but you're taking an 18-year-old straight out of high school, dumping them in a war zone. What do they know? Have they even seen life? You know what I mean? They usually like.
I think so I'm gonna say this. I think in the majority of the cases, a lot of times it instills a little bit of structure to kids that don't have any kind of don't see any other pathway.
No, I understand, but again, I don't see like weapons should be at 25. If you can rent a car at 25, you should be able to have a weapon at 25.
I don't think 25 is a good gauge. I think it's too late.
Too late?
Yeah, man,
No,
you
I don't
can't.
think so. I don't think so. So what? So what? There's some
Let me
kids
tell
that
you
are
this.
normal will
Ready?
suffer a little bit.
We don't have the structure for kids 25 and younger to be able to continue coddling them like that. You get what I'm saying?
No, you're not cuddling them. If you want to go pew pew,
Yeah, you are.
go
You're
with
cutting
your
them
parents.
off from potential dangers in the world. You're coddling them.
Well, no, you're not cutting them off the potential dangers. What you're doing is you're making sure that their prefrontal cortex is 100% developed, because it doesn't develop. Your prefrontal cortex doesn't.
The
develop
world
till-
don't give
till
a fuck about that.
Well, no, I understand that.
The world doesn't give a flying fuck about your prefrontal cortex or anything that's developed or not developed or whatever the issues you have. You gotta move on from high school to the fucking world, and they don't.
that.
And a lot of times they make it too difficult for kids to be able to do that, right? And the sad fact is, a lot of parents are 18, get the fuck out.
Well, that's another thing.
That's why I'm trying to say we don't
But
have.
that's changing now. That's changing.
But
now.
we
More
don't
and more
have-
adults are spending it home with their parents.
I
They're
get it,
not.
but we don't have the system to continue on after 18 years old to be like, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, they gotta be able to do certain things. They're being let out in the fucking world all on their own. If you're telling me that a kid's gotta move out at 18, he can't buy a gun to defend his house. You see the things I'm trying to say. You see what the point I'm trying to get at.
But I know what
Look-
you're saying. Yeah, like if you want to move out, I'm happy you want to move out. I'm glad you want to move out. But this is what the moving out costs.
Right. I get that. It's cost this and whatever if they're willing to do so. Right.
Yeah, but majority of the time, that whole moving out idea is fucking dumb. The reason
get
kids
it.
want to move out more, the reasons the kids want to do these things are not because they want to be they somehow an adult or anything. Just because they want to be under the same roof with their parents or hear what their parents want them to do or not to do. That's the reason they really want to move out.
But
Not
doesn't
because-
it feel sometimes a little pointless to keep looking at the reasoning when it's never going to change? And maybe just kind of get to this is how it is, and maybe let's make it as best as possible.
Yeah, but overall, you see, I don't agree with.
Because young rebellion kids are always going to be like that.
Yeah, but the nail that sticks out gets hammered down, right?
Right. I get it.
So
But that doesn't always happen.
doesn't always happen. But that's what I'm saying. That's why by putting these rules in place, at least that towards that, like keeps it away for a little bit longer.
I don't think it would. I think it's just going to make it more difficult for the ones that are being pushed out into the world anyways. You see what I'm saying? Like,
No, I get it, but not everybody can win. That's the bottom line.
yeah, but you're making it more and more difficult.
For them to win,
Yes, by adding more and more rules in place
So?
to prevent them from moving forward because they're not ready for it yet. Well, guess what? The world pushed them there anyways, and now you're putting all these restrictions in place. What do you mean? Come on, bro.
figure it out.
No, what the fuck? They're already trying to figure it out, and you're trying to add more restrictions. I get what you're trying to say.
Guys, you're
And I'm
saying this
behind-
like we live in fucking Africa without water, electricity,
No,
and
but
any
what
of
I'm-
these things. We live in 21st century in United States.
But a simple thing is like you just said, a gun. Why? Oh, you should have to wait till you're 25 to
Correct.
get a gun.
You should.
Okay, then you should also have to wait to 25 to be able to live on your own.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, then that's what I'm trying to say. You can't do one and then expect not the.
Oh no, I agree with that idea. You should wait, like you should live with your parents until you're 25. Go work, do your other things. You can have an adult job, go to school, finish your school, whatever it is that you want to do. But you live within your parents' house. You slowly grow. Like your parents start instilling in you that you need to start paying bills at the home because you're grown up now, and they teach you like that slowly, step by step, that you are grown up now.
But this is the
Give you
thing. It's like I said.
responsibility.
It's you're. A lot of these expectations are not realistic.
Well, the bottom line is whether they're realistic or not. Clearly, the other way is not working very well either.
But I don't think putting more restrictions is going to do anything well either.
No, it will. It will. It will do some. It will do some. It'll keep the ones that are normal and want to own a weapon not being able to do so. But if they're normal, that means their parents are normal. And if the parents are normal, if parents want to go pew pew, they can go with their parents to pew pew. You know what I mean?
I get that.
So all these
But
things can be solved.
It's not about that. It's just the world ain't set up in any form or fashion for this
No,
to
it's
ever.
not that. It's because
ever take
it's
in
an
place.
inconvenience. We're just
Yes.
too used. Yeah, but we're too used to our Instacarts and Uber food deliveries, right? Inconvenience is okay. Inconvenience makes you better. When everything is easy, falls on your head, you don't value it. It's just given.
You don't learn.
You want a piece of gum, Amazon will deliver it to you in 6 hours. You don't even need to get out of the house, go to the gas station. I'm just telling you, like, a little bit of inconvenience is good. Otherwise, how else are you gonna learn responsibility, accountability? Like, these things need to be taught. Like, we don't have any of that shit now.
Trust me, you can never own a gun and not be coddled. Believe me on that. I don't understand what that's supposed to mean.
Trust me, you can never own a gun and not be caught.
So if you own a gun, you're coddled. I don't get. I think that if that's what you're trying to say, I don't understand.
I don't know. Joe, elaborate, please. But I do think everything right now, everything. The reason society is the way it is, in my opinion, is because everything is given to us. Everything is accessible. Everything is very easy at the fingertip to reach.
I don't
It
think
is.
you can blame it all on one reason.
Well, I mean, what else? I can't think of
I
anything
think
else.
there's an abundance of things. I think I mean, I do agree with you that it's a big factor, but I think it's an abundance of things.
I don't know. We're just trying to decriminalize weed and all of that stuff. Okay, decriminalize it, make it a 25, just like with everything else. Alcohol and cigarettes after 25.
Why are you coming with this 25 age?
Because I think 25 is good, because at 25, usually majority of the kids are out of the college and they're stepping into the actual grown-up world. And now at
Jay's
grown-up...
out here throwing numbers like Trump tariffs.
No, at the grown-up world...
10, 30,
Yeah, because
40,
at
fucking 130.
22, you're done with your bachelor's and you're going to go for master's. 23, 24, you got your master's now. And then at 25, you got about a year right into workplace, environment.
Yeah, but the majority of kids don't go to college. So why
What do you mean majority kids? Majority kids do go to college.
The majority of kids aren't going to college. What do you mean?
A lot of kids drop out, probably in the first or second.
No, I understand, but majority kids do go to college. That was the whole thing
Percentage
with Obama.
percentage of kids that finish college at a high school.
Oh, fuck. That depends on the college or university.
No, I'm saying
Just in
like
general,
US.
you can look up. But there's more women that finish college than men. That's
No,
for
I'm not
sure.
talking about that.
That
Just-
graduate, but
That attend college?
No, 10 no, because everybody goes to a fucking semester or one class. That's some bullshit.
that finish college.
Finish. No, percentage of high schoolers, because this is just people that attend college. Percentage of high schoolers.
Yeah. 61.4%, more than half. So more than half.
No, but that's 61%. That means they enrolled.
23, 61.4% of recent high school graduates enrolling in college or university.
Yeah.
This rate was lower than
My
blah, blah, blah.
personal experience with college is that a lot of people go for the first or two semesters and then just quit right after.
Yeah, but those are biased. Those are like isolated incidents. Like, we don't know. Roughly 40% enrolled in four-year colleges, with only 22%. What does it say? Type of institutions. Just give you types of institution. Likely to be enrolled in college. 5%. Yeah, so we knew that. Compared to men, women graduate at a higher rate. We know that too. Keep going down. What is this? Percentage of high school graduates that go to college. Click on that article, research.com. Yeah, there you go. This is going to give us a better numbers. 21 million of high school completed or more immediately in college. As of October 2020, only 62% of high school Graduates aged 16 to 24 were enrolled in college or university. The pandemic has been blamed for a drop.
So 60% of 60%.
Okay, well, anyway, what I'm trying to say, why 25? Because by now you already been at least 1 year. And if you don't go to college, right? So it's been already 6 years of you working somewhere. So if you're out of the college and you have a decent job, now you have to understand that you have to be at work Monday through Friday. You can't just fucking get drunk. You know what I mean? Because that's what colleges are for. The reason kids do go to college a lot of times is to go away from their parents and drink and party and do all that shit. J 25, it's a good age for young kids to start taking responsibility. Yeah, and then they're already been a year of responsible. So now they're gonna think about it twice before they do dumb shit. I'm telling you. You're going off your own experience, bro. But the life is a little bit different.
I feel like you're gonna end up forcing a lot of people to start life later.
That's not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. You shouldn't really go gung ho and start.
Depends who you ask, because currently our population is declining because we're starting a lot later in life, especially for women.
Well, that's women's problem. That's not a men's problem, right? So
we're talking about everyone.
So my point here is that you going into a
so like my thing subject. Is ready. You're telling me, so only 60% of 60% of high school graduates, right? As the stat I just found. Finish college. So the rest of those kids maybe go to a year or something of college.
Yeah,
right?
but then they start working.
And then they start working.
Yeah.
Right? So you want them to work for 5 years. Just work.
Correct.
Before even attempting to do anything else.
Correct. Good.
Without even thinking about getting a credit score. Without even thinking about...
No. You can still... No, you get your credit scores and everything. You cannot drink. You cannot buy alcohol. You cannot buy cigarettes. You cannot buy weapons. You can still have a credit. You can still, if you want to buy a home, go buy a home. Like, you can participate in the normal human activities except the vices.
I can go buy a home at 18.
Why not?
But I can't buy a gun to protect my home.
Correct.
That's fucking wild.
Well, no, it's not wild.
Yes, it is.
That's why, because if for you to buy the weapon...
Oh, I gotta think twice before I make these decisions and bad mistakes and all these things I gotta do. I gotta stay safe for 6 years. So now I know to think twice. You just said I can buy a house. Could be an extremely bad decision for someone.
But then if for you a weapon is that important for your house protection, you gotta think about it twice.
I gotta wait.
Yes.
That's bullshit, Jay.
And then buying a home at 18...
You can't do that to people.
And then buying... Well, what do you mean you can't? Of course you can, because buying a home at 18... How the fuck are you going to buy a home at 18? Where are you going to get the money from to buy a home at 18? You don't even work yet. How are you going to pay the down payment? How are you going to put a down payment down?
Who said you don't work yet?
Okay, so let's say you worked. All the little pennies that you collected.
I get what you're
saying.
How
the fuck you putting a down payment? Because those little pennies that you collect, you can buy shoes and sneakers and the clothes to look cool and buy the brands.
But all I'm trying to say is, if you're going to try and tell someone you can't own a gun or buy cigarettes or anything, these things like that, they shouldn't be allowed to make big decisions like that either, right?
Well, buying a home, there's a big difference between you buying cigarettes and alcohol and buying a home.
Yeah, I think buying a home is even more massive.
No, home is an appreciating asset.
No, I'm not looking
cigarettes
at it like
and alcohol is not even a depreciating asset. It's an asset that don't add shit to your life. Neither is the weapon.
Add a lot of joy.
Huh?
Yeah, add a lot of joy.
Well, I get that. But that's not what is important in life. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Because down the road, you buying the home is going to be a better decision than you spending money on cigarettes, alcohol, and weapons.
I agree with you, Joe. I agree with that last comment you just said.
Yeah, people have problems. Yeah, but there's also this whole idea of like the very individualistic society, right? Like America's a very individualistic society. I want to do it and I'm going to do it. Like nobody really cares about what the family thinks about, right? So I come in from a different kind of a culture, I guess, where the family's opinion matters, right? But in the United States, the family opinion is not that big of a deal. Like if I want to do it, I'm going to do it because I'm an adult now.
But guess what? For that same reason, a lot of times around the world, that family opinion matters so much, so people don't go anywhere with their fucking lives. You know how many people sit and work the same job because their parents told them that's the one they had to do?
Yeah.
And they had so much more potential or creativity to do something else?
Yeah, how many of those people? Let's see. The problem with that is there's a very big bias in that, because you hear only about the ones that make it. You never hear about the millions and millions and millions that failed
It's,
and that became nobodies.
I get it, but they were
So,
robbed of the opportunity of even trying.
well, here's the opportunity. When we grow up, our parents tell us how smart and how beautiful, how amazing we are, but in reality, you know the percent. So here's the how many people do you know that have kids that take their kids to baseball practice or football practice with an idea that their kid one day is going to become that super famous baseball player or super famous football player? Every parent that goes there to every single game, like participates and does.
I only knew a couple growing up that had parents like that.
Yeah, so, and those kids, the chance that they're going to become somebody famous as a baseball player or football player, damn near zero. Not even 0.001, it's 0.00001.
I get what I know the stats. Yeah.
Right? So, a lot of times we forget that majority of us are average. Majority of us are average. We can think we're important. We can think we're smart. We can think we're more intelligent than the other one. We are not. 98% of the shit we know is our own opinion and it's not a fact. I'm just telling you, that's how life is. There's only individuals, like, for example, Elon Musk, he's autistic, but he's highly fucking intelligent. This is why he is. Same thing with Jeff Bezos. This is where he is. Same thing with fucking Microsoft. That's where he is. These are unique people that you know. Zuckerberg. These
So
are
I'm
unique
not going.
people you know about.
I don't know why you're trying to argue me the stats of people being successful or not. I
Correct.
get what you're talking. I know this. What I'm trying to say
Yeah.
is your ideology will end up robbing a lot of people
Of what?
of the opportunity of even trying.
So
Right? And this is the reason why you have so many millionaires saying, "Don't listen to anybody. Do not." Why do all the successful people say, "Fuck what anybody says"? Why do they say that then, Jay?
Because you're listening to the successful people. How about the ones that didn't listen to anybody, never made it anywhere? And there's a lot more of them than there are millionaires that literally followed the same script and they didn't make it anywhere.
Yeah.
There's a lot more of those.
Okay,
You,
I'm not
Why
going
don't you listen to
against-
those?
Well, guess what? A
They
lot
did,
of them.
they did the same fucking shit.
Guess what? What happens when they don't even try? They end up regretting that shit for the
I
rest of their
understand.
life.
Whatever you don't try, you end up regretting. But let's put the things in
You
perspective.
have to give everyone the opportunity, no?
Let's put the things in perspective here. You're at 18, moving out of the parents' house, starting to live on a rent, right? Now you have to work. Make sure you work. You're running around, bustling and hustling and breaking your ass to pay rent. You don't have time for other shit. Now, let's say you live with your parents, right? You don't have to worry about the extra bills. You don't have to worry about the extra shit. So now you can concentrate on the money that you're making and try to think about, where can I put this money that's going to bring me more money? Now you have more freedom to do these things. When you're living on your own, away from the family in a tribe, it's much harder for you to do things, because with a tribe, they'll pick up the slack here and there and help you. On your own, you have to do that shit on your own.
I get what you're saying.
And a lot of people don't make it. So are you really robbing them of the opportunity? No, you're not.
You absolutely are.
No, you're not. I don't think you are. I'm telling you, you're
Ready?
not.
Because what ends up happening the majority of the time when people go and ask family members and they tell them, "No, you shouldn't do that. That's not a good idea."
Mm-hmm.
Maybe sometimes they're right. Sometimes some people have stupid ideas, and I get that. And it's also, at the end of the day, it's still their prerogative to go and do it. But a lot of times everyone projects their own insecurities and things that they lacked and all these things, and they gave up on their dream and all this shit, and that's the end up shitty advice they end up giving. No, you should be safe.
Yeah, but
you should be safe. You should be safe.
But what makes
Why do all these millionaires say don't listen to anybody?
Again, don't you listening to the ones that have succeeded, but the ones that did not succeed had the same mentality of don't listen to anybody, and they did not succeed.
Yeah, because
I'm
I'm not arguing against the likelihood.
What I'm trying to say, you don't have enough wisdom or experience to understand whether whatever this person is telling you is good or bad is even a good advice. You don't have the experience for that to even judge whether they're right or wrong. So because you go into them with an idea that they have more experience and wisdom than you to tell you whether this is good or bad. Now then you can still take that advice and then do it your way or continue doing it the way you want to. Right? But at least you have somebody that you can consult with versus having somebody that you don't have to consult with.
I agree.
So, are they going to hold you back? Maybe some going to get held back. But usually when people are good at something, they don't get held back. Usually it's the people that sit and
See, that's
hindsight
where,
and reminisce. I should have done this.
See, that's where you are arguing against your own point because you're only hearing the successful one. You're not hearing the thousands and thousands of people that wanted to do something and were not allowed by their families.
Yeah, but what do you... Okay, well, successful... Thousands of people that wanted to do something but not allowed with their families. Like, it's like, oh, it's my family's fault because I'm not here. How do you know you would have gotten there?
Well, how you know you wouldn't have?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. So you don't know. So at this point, sitting and blaming somebody is fucking stupid.
Well, yeah, because you were robbed of the opportunity of even figuring out.
So fucking what? But if you're
so
good
fucking
enough,
what? Okay.
If you're,
all right.
bro,
so fucking what? Everything then.
No,
Come
because,
on, bro.
Because if you're good, okay. When did this the guy that created KFC became popular? When did he blow up? What
Colonel
age?
Sanders, old as
Colonel
fuck.
Sanders, old as fuck. When was the McDonald's guy that created the ice cream machine blew up?
The guy that created the ice cream machine at McDonald's is different.
That's how McDonald's started, with the ice cream machine.
That was a burger and fries place.
Yes, but the McDonald's I think started with the ice cream machine. That's
That
what.
was one of the big things as a soft serve.
He was like 66.
Kentucky curdle. I don't understand that word.
Which word?
Curdle.
Colonel. Colonel. It's
No. The word itself. Where's the? Where?
Where it come from?
Where's the R?
Oh, Colonel. You mean you're not
In Spanish, it's colonel, so it makes
Colonel,
Makes,
like-
how are we saying colonel? It's that word. That word ain't. You know what I mean? Like where's the R?
We also don't say spoon. We say spoon, and we say knife. We say knife. You know. So.
I get it, but we're now adding a letter that's not even there.
Yeah, but English.
Where else do we do
English
that?
is
I
a
don't
young
pronounce
language.
it as that, though. I pronounce it as Kona.
Everyone always says colonel, right?
Yeah.
Like a colonel.
Yeah, with the
colonels?
red, but they're not with the
It's
R, but they're
just-
not supposed to.
I think that's just the southern people, and you guys is listening to that.
No, look up the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Colonel.
Look.
Yeah, it does. say
Colonel.
K-E-R.
I'm hearing it. He's saying Colonel.
Yeah. But anyway, so he was 66. Majority of these people that became very successful, I mean, what's his name? Michael Jordan, arguably the best basketball player in the world ever.
But that's not the world we live in now. Look how many young successful people there are now.
Which ones?
An extreme about all
shit
the.
ton.
What are you
All of them.
talking
Which
about?
ones?
All
But-
the TikTokers.
You talking about the TikTokers? How long are they gonna last? How long they're going to last?
Millionaires, bro.
David Dobrik.
I understand that they
David
Paul,
Dobrik.
Jake Paul.
David
Casey Neistat.
Yeah.
David
David Dobrik.
Ross,
David,
Kyson, there's
A shit ton of
there's a lot of these
David-
guys, and there's also a lot of them that are low key to us, but are still making millions of dollars every year for the past 10 years, bro.
I understand, but
Ryan's
remember,
World.
remember,
I don't even know that
remember,
one.
remember, those people that you're talking about, 0.1% of United States makes $670,000 and more. 1%. 0.1% makes $3 million. Right? That's 1%. Are you that 1%? That's
get-
what I'm trying to tell you.
okay.
Those
Are you-
people that
are
you're
you-
looking at, they're the 1%
Are
or
you is
0.1%.
are you is a valid question. It's an extremely valid
Yeah.
question. But I'm not getting at are you. I'm getting at did you even get the chance to figure out if you are not or are you? So that's what I'm
Yeah.
getting at.
What I'm
you
trying
should
to
get
tell
the
you-
fucking chance, no?
You have the chance. The chance is you have somebody to consult with, and if you still don't agree with them, go and do it. They're not gonna lock you up and say stay in this room because I have the shotgun outside the door and you're not leaving.
That's not always true, Jay. People sometimes don't get the fucking opportunity because their family doesn't allow them.
Well, some they won't get the opportunity. Some won't. Okay. It will happen. But then at least now you have people that are a little more responsible, a little more care about the community, a little less of this bullshit. I'm just saying.
Everyone should have the opportunity.
That's not true. Everyone shouldn't have the opportunity. Everyone doesn't deserve the opportunity.
Well, everyone should get.
Everyone doesn't even deserve that, but everyone will get the opportunity. Everyone literally has the opportunity, but they don't even deserve it. But they do. But they do have it. Not everyone deserves the opportunity. I'm sorry, the world is not built that way. The world is not. The world is not built that way.
I understand the way that
We made it. We made it so safe. We made it so safe that even the one that has an IQ below of this table, it's not even a double-digit IQ. It's a single-digit IQ, and they think they can become a millionaire. I'm sorry, but you can't. It's just life, man. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, will I ever become would I want to be a billionaire? Of course. Will I ever become a billionaire? The chances are extremely slim. Extremely slim. Now, should I go out there and cry why I'm not a billionaire? You know what I mean? Like, you gotta kind of like play within your means. You know what I'm saying? You gotta try to push the boundaries as far as you can, and then continue pushing the wall. I'm not saying stop pushing the wall.
I just found it weird there how you found a way to like reword what you were saying to make it sound like I was arguing against what you just said. You saying not everyone deserves. Well, yeah, clearly, because some people aren't fucking smart, and some people aren't made for it.
Yes,
a lot of people are going to be cogs in the wheel.
And that's we need the burger flippers.
I get it, but like you said, deserve. That's just the same backwards ass shit I tried to say. You just turned it on me.
What do you mean?
In the sense where you're saying deserve. Okay, it's just like another way of saying the opportunity shit. You deserve the opportunity, not, but you have the opportunity to show it. Right?
To show what?
Whether you have an IQ of fucking high as shit or not.
I mean,
and then that shows if you deserve it.
If you could have a conversation with somebody, you can tell if they're intelligent or not. I mean, a lot of times people are very not intelligent at all. They're just not, but they have these high aspirations and they do dumb shit.
I don't know. I think it's crazy when you see people that you're like, man, you don't have shit
this is what
in
I
your
think.
brain, and
I think
they
more
end up
people
making a bunch of money.
I think more people fail than succeed, and
Yeah,
the problem is
works.
we see the ones that succeed, and we think that's how everyone is that tries. It's kind of like, oh, today I want to become a tattoo artist. I can know how to draw really well. I can do good tattoos. But then they go 1 year into business. It's like, I don't know what's going on. My business is not succeeding. This is not going the way I wanted. But yet all these other people are doing well. What are they doing different that they're doing better than me? Well, they're just
that's
better
all
than
about
you.
execution.
Yeah, well, they're just whatever they're doing better than you, right? So again, there's levels to this, right? You can only play within your level. I hate to be the downer. I hate to be the Debbie Downer. I don't want to sound pessimistic, but it's more realistic, like to understand where your level is.
I understand what you're saying, your level, but everyone has a level, right? And how do they get that level?
I could never
by
become
showing themselves, right?
Yeah, like I would never become a basketball player.
You know what
never.
I'm saying, though? Everyone gets their pre-assigned level by showing themselves, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone has should have the opportunity to show themselves to see where they fall, where they deserve to fall.
But what I'm trying to tell you, life will always provide you with opportunities to show where you fall. Now, if you don't have the guts to do it, you as a person don't have the guts to do it, yes, somebody's going to suggest and give you an advice, and you're going to take that and never going to step behind it.
I don't know
but you don't have the guts to do it to begin with.
I don't know if I can say life is always going to show you opportunity. I don't believe that.
Yeah, age brings a different perspective, man. Yeah. Yeah, because what happens...
I've met too many people that are 10, 15 years older than me that don't know shit. I don't believe that.
Yeah, they might not know shit, but what I'm trying to say, when you get a little bit of more responsibility that hangs on your shoulders, you start thinking about... For example, let me give you a very, very good example. Would I want to go right now and live in Colombia? 100%. I love that place. I love the food. I love the people. I love the climate. I love the way everything is situated, specifically in the city of Medellin. I would love to do that. But I know I'll never do that because I have other responsibilities here. I have responsibilities to my family, to my mother, to my brother, to you guys. I have responsibilities. So no matter what's going to give me that little bit of happiness, it still is not enough for me to offset all the responsibilities I have and go and pursue something out there. Will I ever regret this one day in my life? Maybe. But that's okay. I'm willing to take that choice. I'm willing to take that step. Do you see what I mean? Like this idea of like, oh, if you want to go and do it, you should do it as long as you feel happy. All that's horseshit. Like life is not, you're not like, in life, what brings you happiness is making other people happy. That's what brings you happiness, not by like buying the next coolest thing. I've bought every fucking single thing under the goddamn sun I ever wanted. You know what I mean? And none of that shit gives you happiness. None of it.
It does temporarily.
Temporarily, yeah, but it doesn't last. But we want lasting happiness, right? What gives me lasting happiness is sitting down having these bullshit conversations that we're doing right now, like screaming at each other and then like going having a drink together and going home.
I do want to have a drink, by the way.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is what gives me happiness: being around friends and bouncing off ideas
It's
and
like
talking to each other.
The guys, like Brad Pitt said, it's not the destination nor the travel. It's the
Company.
It's the company.
Yeah, that makes
I
more
agree with
sense.
that.
That makes more sense. You know, and this trip was good. But it was missing people. You know what I mean? This trip was really good, but it was missing. Like, the entire trip, you're thinking, man, like, it'd be so cool if this person was here. It'd be so cool if the other person was here. Because you miss that.
Even as simple as, like, today I went fishing. I went wading downtown on a flat. And I was like...
Let's get back to Trixie. No, Cinnamon. Trixie done been around here for too long. She's going to get used to it. Let's get Cinnamon back.
I planned on going, like, by myself at this point, right? Because I wanted to go and, like you're saying, doing things that bring you, like, happiness.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
So to me, I love fishing. That brings me lots of happiness. And I practically was like, not begging, but I like mentioned to Emily multiple times, like, yo, let's go. Come with me. The water's not that cold. It's a sand flat. You're not going to deal with mud or anything. Because she doesn't have like the waders and stuff. So, and I got her to go with me, and we didn't catch any fish, but it's a lot better to like have someone there with you versus doing it on your own, you know.
Especially like having someone there with you that you like to do makes more sense because you can just like talk to each other, even like just looking at them and not saying shit. This was the same thing. We had hella fun with the boys hanging out, and we ended up getting a big home. Rented a big home outside the city with a pool. It was beautiful, you know, like it was nice. We had a lady that cooked for us and cleaned for us everywhere and like provided with everything we ever wanted, you know. But it was missing. Like at night we still sat down, drank and had conversations, but it was missing the rest of the crew, you know what I mean? Like rest of the people. Mm-hmm. Like seeing somebody just chilling, smoking their cigarette, just like looking.
What always feels weird is like you develop like this relationship with the people that you hang out with constantly, to where it's like a shit ton of what they call inside jokes. Right. Yeah. Like being able to say a single phrase that everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck did he say? And two of the guys just like, yo, that shit was funny. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly who you were talking about and what you were trying to say about them.
And then if you have to explain, it's no longer funny.
If you have to explain it, it's not funny. No, it's got to be something that's like a little one-liner, and it's not, you know. There's times when you're hanging out with certain people and you're like, you think of one of those things, it's like, I know these people are going to understand. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or you'll say it still, nobody gets it, and you're sitting there laughing by yourself.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, for sure.
Thinking about the person that would have fucking laughed at it with you.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. People, like, I don't understand people having big friend groups and having multiple friends that they keep up with.
You can't.
And stuff like that. I don't think that...
That comes from the tribal community, you know? You can't.
And I feel like what happens with that, too, is... And I'm not saying this because when I grew up, I was very... I mean, I was the fat kid, right? I was always very jealous of any kind of friend I had, right? I was jealous, not jealous, but like... Almost like, damn, why didn't I get invited or certain things to certain things like that, you know? Or
you think it's because you're a fat kid?
No. I was almost.
I had that experience, but with sports, I would never get fucking picked for sports.
Yeah, I never got picked for sports.
You know what I would have? You know, even if Miggy was the worst player, I would have picked fucking Miggy. You know why? You pick the guy that plays the worst. That motherfucker. Hustle. Yeah, bro. That motherfucker. Bro, they picked me first. Are you kidding me? They would have the best fucking day, bro.
You know what's funny?
One reason that they picked me? They didn't know about the hustle, but they knew about the height.
The height.
They always picked me for the height, but I was last.
You know, it's one thing.
No, I'd pick you first because I know the minute you pick the worst kid the first, man, that kid is going to try. He'll leave his heart on that court. You know what I mean?
Bro, when I think back now, I was running around the court a shit ton, but I would like sometimes I would look at them like, this motherfucker's crazy. What is he doing, yo?
Yeah.
That's one thing Rodolfo always used to tell me when we were growing up. We played basketball. So I was never good. He was always really good. Like, right? Rodolfo's, like, I remember I had a legit feeling when I was growing up as a kid that Rodolfo would go to the NBA. Like, when I was growing up, I had that, like, I was like, yo, this man, not that necessarily he would make it. There was points where, like, as I got older, realizing. But I was like, he's going to go all the way and try. Like, college ball. Yeah, this is what he's going to do for the next 20 years kind of thing in my brain. Whether he makes it or not, right? But I was shitty. I was always bad. I was the fat kid. I did martial arts. I could fuck you up, but I couldn't play any ball, right? So, but he always tell me you have a lot of hustle, and I feel like that's just the big kid thing, right? Like the big kid's always trying, like hard, you know, like they're putting their fucking heart into
Let
it.
me tell you a fucking story. So we're playing basketball. This is in Lithuania. I'm the fucking shortest one on the goddamn team. I don't know what the fucking basketball. I don't even know the difference
You can't
between
see
a
that
basketball
shit.
and a football,
He
right?
was used
Yeah.
to play with the
Yeah,
volleyball.
with a volleyball, bro. So I was on a team. I was playing, and we were winning by 1 point, and the other team had the ball, and their best player had the ball, and he was going for it, and he was about to fucking just. He's already in the air. He's about to throw the ball to make it, and I knew he's gonna make it, and we're gonna lose the game because time is about to over. Shoved his ass right in the air. He went flying. They're like, "Oh my god, why did you do it?" Yeah. I was like, "Okay, give me my technical. I'll fucking go walk away the court right now." Gave me the technical. I walk away the court. By the time they set them back up, by the time they passed the ball, time expired, and we ended up winning, bro. So that's what I'm saying. You know?
I mean, that is what they do when you got games like that, and you're up or whatever it is. Like they foul the fuck.
Yeah,
out of
you take the grenade if you have to. You know what I mean?
That's
You
one thing
jump
I
on
don't
a
like about
grenade.
Basketball though, it's like some people when you're playing with people, like I'm just playing for fun. I don't expect to get an injury. I'm not giving my life to defend the ball, bro. You can have your 2-3 points, bro. If I lose the game, it is what it is. But I'm not putting my life out there for that game. Fuck that.
And I think that's
I
where
got work tomorrow.
I think that's where the video games came in, right? Like, because video games, I think they changed that dynamic of. I mean, you still want to win at video games, but it's not. It's less of that. Like, I'm putting my life on a line type of deal. You know what I mean? There's less of that.
I mean, it's just fun. You
Well,
can do
some
shit that
people,
you
some
can't
people,
do.
yeah, some people. I know.
Bro,
some
when you
people.
start playing video games and you get into certain things, you're like, bro, this man is trying his ass off right now. Holy shit. Like, there's just times when you run into people and you're like, bro, this man hasn't seen grass in 2 weeks. Like, that's how it feels sometimes. Like, that's actually a phrase we say is touch grass. When somebody's, like, fucking cracked out and they're trying too hard and just, like, they're too good or they know too much, you know, it's like, bro, calm down. Touch grass, all right? You fucking playing this shit too much. Even us gamers roast other gamers for playing too much games. You know, like, it doesn't matter. It's competitiveness is what it is. And I think the whole thing about the hustle with the bigger kids and us that got picked last is we were so not used to getting picked last, but almost horrified by it. You know, we know we almost feel like we know it's coming, right, to get picked last, right? And we're expected to do last. And we're like, we hate that fucking feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying our hardest to not be there anymore, you know?
Yeah. No, that's a fact.
It's like how they say every failure makes you stronger. It's like all those failures of getting picked
No,
last.
tell me-
last. It's like another
Tell
failure
me,
after
like, because
failure.
that's like, I mean, if you want to look at it, that's kind of like I guess it's a long shot, but that's kind of like a form of bullying, getting picked last because you're not the best player. But then, tell me how that bullying is not good for you because it makes
I don't
you
think
want to
it's
try
bullying.
harder.
I don't think it's bullying.
Well,
because-
yeah, as I said, it's a long shot.
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like,
not really bullying because bullying is like, I want to make you feel bad. They're not picking you because you feel bad. You suck, and no one wants you.
Nobody
And that's
wants to
just
lose
the
because of
reality.
you.
Guess what?
As a matter
Maybe
of fact, you
maybe
don't wanna
sometimes
lose. You
yeah,
don't
they
wanna
don't.
lose
I don't
on our
want to fucking
team.
lose. If I'm team captain, bro, I'm not picking Miggy, nigga. No, I'm picking
I'm
Fo.
picking fucking Miggy. Miggy and I are having a good
Well,
time
now
on
I
this.
pick Miggy.
You know
now
what?
I'm picking Miggy. Miggy's
Yo,
my
walk
first
up
option
that
for
court.
anything now.
Hugging
But, like-
each other like this. You better
Look,
be all right.
And we're fucking
Look,
winning.
I remember I grew up with Miguel in middle school. I remember what Miguel used to look like. Miguel was a fat kid just like me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
I'm
get
a
All
fat
three of
kid.
us, all
Yeah.
Why do you
all three of us, all
You
three
guys
fat
think I have a
musketeers would be
beard?
all
Why
right.
do you guys think I have a
is to
beard?
cover the double chin.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Bro, I hate it. I have this spot right here that doesn't want to, like, it
Grow?
started to grow now, but it used to be like a clear patch of no hair. And even when I got skinny when I was doing jujitsu, not skinny, but when I lost like 20 pounds doing jujitsu, I didn't have a double chin. But bro, because of that patch, any picture I would take, it looks like I have a double chin because of this fucking patch, bro.
I don't like
It
having-
pisses me
I
off.
don't
Touch your
having
tongue to
a
the roof of
stubble
your mouth.
because-
Yeah. You taking pictures? You touch your tongue to the roof of your mouth.
I mean, when I'm smiling, I always have my like, but no, it's not that. It's not that I actually have a double. I mean, I do. I'm fucking
That's why I don't
annoying.
like sporting a fucking stubble.
I hate this shit right now,
fuck
but I'm
me.
trying to let the office wants everyone to grow their mustaches in, so we're doing that shit to see
Mustache-
how we're doing that shit to see how it
Mustache
looks.
season?
Yeah, everyone's gonna get a nice porn stash.
Season?
Yeah, everyone's gonna get a nice porn stash. We'll
Well,
see how it
didn't
looks.
you had one going
I
on?
did. I shaved mine off, and now I'm gonna grow it back.
All right.
barber, like when I was in high school or something like that. Like late high school, like right after I graduated is when I started finally using a razor. And he was like, "Yeah, bro, like the little peach fuzz you have right now, don't use clippers to shave, like to get rid of it. Shave it." And that's one thing. I always had fucking Elvis chops. Ever since like middle school, even like I could grow this shit real like thick,
Nice and
yeah,
thick.
bro. Always. I've always had fucking Elvis chops. I don't know why, but like my sideburns would always come really low if I'd let them grow in.
You would have killed it back then.
Yeah, bro. If I was like during that era, yeah, I would have been like a high schooler, like
Maybe.
looking like an adult. I would just had this all like this, no hair, because I didn't have any hair, you know, and just let this shit grow in. Look like fucking Travolta back in the
Look at
day.
Taylor, man.
Back in Pulp Fiction, 80s, or
Fuck.
80s, 70s, whatever. All right, boys. Well, we're in 1 hour right now.
Yeah, we're over an hour. We'll wrap it up. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you, Joe, for interacting with us.